Good morning, everyone. I will. Not yet? Okay. Sorry. Hi, everyone. Thank you very much for joining us. And I will give a statement, and then I'll open it for questions. So as you've just heard, the Human Rights Council have just adopted a resolution supposedly addressing the accountability and justice. But in adopting this resolution, the Council spoke loud and clear to the overwhelming majority of its members, those who voted for. Israelis do not matter. The murder of Jews does not matter. The hostages do not matter. The rape of Israeli women does not matter. Where is the accountability for the Israeli victims? Where is the accountability for Israeli victims of Palestinian terrorism? Where is the accountability for the death of Lidor Levy, who succumbed yesterday to his wounds following a terrorist attack earlier this week? Where is the justice for his pregnant wife and his 6-month-old daughter, his parents, his brothers and sister? Where are the human rights of the hostages held by Hamas, currently going through unimaginable pain, starvation, sexually based violence? All that it matters for those who voted for in this council today is condemning the condemnation of Israel, singling out the only Jewish state, and protecting Hamas. And all those, Hamas, the Islamic Jihad, and all those who want to destroy Israel. This resolution is a stain on the Human Rights Council. There's no other way to look at it. It's a stain on the Human Rights Council and at the United Nations as a whole. I'm not going to attend the rest of the session today. As you know, there will be other deliberations and other resolutions against us, but I see no point. I can no longer sit in a room which is so-called Human Rights Council, and that they cannot even bring themselves to condemn the atrocities and the massacre of October 7th. They cannot even bring themselves to condemn the brutally murder of 1,200 Israelis and foreigners that were slaughtered on October 7th, the kidnapping of more than 240 men, women, and children, the rape, the mutilation, as you can see, the sexually abuse of Israeli women. None of that is in the resolution. So certainly it's Me Too, unless you're a Jew. Certainly that's what we've heard here today at the Council. Those who voted yes for this resolution shamelessly equated Israeli and foreigner hostages held by Hamas in Gaza, women and children that were snatched from their beds, with those detained in Israeli prisons, many of whom took part in October 7th massacre. This is, to me, abhorrent. Abhorrent that those who vote for actually look at this at the same on par, as equal. Not just that, failed to mention the ongoing terrorist attacks against Israelis committed by Palestinians from the West Bank, and Palestinians' pay-to-slay policy, which I'm sure you're familiar with, which encourages and rewards Palestinian terrorism. It also failed to address, the resolution today also failed to address the anti-Semitic and racist and genocidal calls by Palestinian leaders, both from Hamas and the PA. This resolution that was brought forward by the Palestinian delegation here, Palestinian Authority, the same so-called revitalized Palestinian Authority, who is, if you looked well into this new revitalized government, the new Minister for Religion called Jews apes and pigs, and called for people to afflict the Jews with the worst torment. This is who we're dealing with, and this is really the partners that the Western countries would like us to have. For Israel, every human life lost is a tragedy, but for Hamas, it's a strategy. Today calls for an arms embargo on Israel is a sign of support of this deadly strategy. It's an endorsement for Hamas and its allies. There was no call for an arms embargo against Hamas, against the Palestinian Islamic Jihad, no call to stop Iran from supporting these terrorist groups and many others throughout the Middle East. This council can't even bring itself to demand that Hamas lay down its weapons after it murdered hundreds of my people in cold blood. Our goal, as you know it, is very clear: to bring back home all the hostages, 134 hostages still held in Gaza, destroy and dismantle Hamas terrorist infrastructure and its capabilities, and ensure the protection of Israel's population. These are not only legitimate objectives, they are our obligation to secure the people of Israel. I want to thank all the delegation who did not support this resolution and demonstrated a moral leadership. The human rights of Israelis must be ensured as well. We're no different. We deserve no less. This council has long abandoned reason, and it has long abandoned the human rights of Israelis and Jews. And today's vote was a very dark day in the history of this council and also at the United Nations. So I will stop now and take questions, if there are any. Yes, please. Or you go ahead. You do.
Thank you, Ambassador Yuri Apredev from RIA Novosti. In the resolution, there is a call that Israel have to open its territory to the Commission of Inquiry and to the Office of the High Commissioner of Human Rights. Is this something that Israel will do after this resolution, or is the position of Israel about this kind of mechanism of the UN will not change after?
Our position on the Commission of Inquiry has been public and well known. It has not changed. It has not changed. Following October 7th, if anything, it confirmed. The Commission was created in May 21. It was the mandate that it was created is a biased one, a very one-sided mandate. We've said it very clearly at the beginning already. Nothing that the Commission has done since has made us change our mind, let me put it mildly, with regard to the bias of the mandate, the bias of the commissioners that were selected to head it. You know, according to UN rules and regulations, if you look at it and other commissions, these are supposed to be people that are unbiased, independent, but also that have impartial, that have not shown impartiality prior to their selection to this commission. And we've seen it been done with other commissions. If you look at the Ukraine, it was carefully created with people that were impartial. This, however, these three commissioners, and you know it well, and we can share with you what they've said prior to when they were selected, have stated clearly what they think about the state of Israel prior to May 21. Very clearly. Very one-sided. They have already determined what they think about the state of Israel long ago. And it seemed actually that they were selected because of that, because there's no other way to understand how come, if the rules of the United Nations actually request that these will be impartial people, they have been selected. So our position on the COI has not changed. We will work with credible mechanisms, with impartial mechanisms. As you know, we've invited the special representative of the Secretary General on violence in conflict, Pramila Patten, because we looked at her office and we saw that this is, she's not the only one. The same is for the Secretary General on the special representative of the Secretary General on children in armed conflict. She was also in Israel, not recently, but she was. So whenever we see an opportunity to work with a mechanism, an international mechanism that is balanced and that the mandate is not predetermined, like it was done in the COI, and that the people that were chosen for the position were not chosen because of their views against Israel, but they were chosen based on their professionality and impartiality, then we will do so.
Just a follow-up about the High Commissioner.
But maybe.
Eilon for AFP. What do you think of the fairly crushing numbers of countries who voted for a yes for this resolution? Is it a surprise for you?
There were no surprises, I have to say. It's a disappointment. I'm especially disappointed with the European countries that supported this resolution. They support a resolution that has not condemned Hamas. You know, I don't know if any of you counted, but Israel appears in the resolution 59 times. 59 times. Hamas does not appear at all. So what do I need to understand when Finland, Belgium, and Luxembourg actually vote for such a resolution? That there is no, they don't think Hamas should be accountable. Only the Israeli people, only the Israeli government should be accountable. A resolution that actually puts on par a one-year-old baby, as I mentioned in the council, Kfir Bibas, that was snatched from his home, puts them on par together with terrorists, Hamas terrorists that were apprehended and are detained in Israeli prisons. So this you will need to ask them. But for me, it's not a surprise, it's a disappointment. And as I said, I think that it's a sad day for the United Nations that you cannot look at the entire picture and actually just follow a very one-sided narrative, very one-sided narrative. And you would think that after October 7th, it's not that Israel has not been subjected to many resolutions by the Human Rights Council. We are talking, this one is the 105th resolution. So it's not that we are new at this. But after October 7th, after the massacre of 1,200 Israelis, after 240 people, men, women, and children were snatched and held hostage, and 134 still remain, you would think that there will be a change, and that countries voting at the Human Rights Council will understand that Jewish life and Israeli life actually matters as well.
Yeah, good morning. We also heard from the American ambassador their concern that Israel had not done enough to mitigate harm to civilians in Gaza.
Yes, yeah.
Do you expect at this point now to see then a change in the conduct of hostilities in Gaza?
Well, Israel has been very committed since the beginning to addressing the humanitarian situation in Gaza. And we are still committed to it. We have worked together with international organizations, with international partners to try and bring more and more assistance to Gaza. And you probably heard also that the cabinet just last night approved also opening the Erez crossing to enable more humanitarian assistance to flow, and also bringing it through the Ashdod port. Bringing it through the Ashdod port. We recognize the situation in Gaza. We understand that more needs to be done, and more is being done, whether it's by land crossing, whether it's by air, whether it's through Jordan, whether it's by sea. So we understand the situation, and we understand that civilians and uninvolved Palestinians should not bear the consequences. We understand it. Hamas doesn't understand it. That's the difference. That we understand it. Hamas doesn't understand it. But nevertheless, we are committed, and the news yesterday will enable much more assistance to flow into northern Gaza, which is in a different situation than the south of Gaza, where more assistance was able to flow in. So we recognize the situation in Gaza, we recognize the need to address it and to expand the humanitarian assistance going in, and we are doing so. Thank you. Any more? Thank you very much. Thank you.
Oh,